Greetings and salutations to you all once again. It is me, the Ravenous Spectre. Yeah, it's a little bit chilly outside today and a little bit rainy, so I had to put on my Zelda robe here to kind of warm up just a little bit. Uh, this is kind of a new series that I want to do. I actually mentioned it previously on some of my streams, and basically that is games that I have interest in that probably maybe a majority of people don't, or games that are very polarizing between people. You know, you got like half the group over here that really like the game, and then the other half of here really don't. Kind of really started to think about this because I do have a few games that I've played through, whether I've beaten them or not, that I've really liked. And the reviews and things that I see from different types of people, it's not really in just one direction. It's just like split up everywhere, which of course we know games are all just a basis of opinion. And but anyways, I may get a little bit of flack for this one that I'm about to talk about. And it was actually one that I have been streaming recently, which is Dead Rising 4. Now, obviously, this is called Frank's Big Package. It's not a big package. I actually mentioned this some previously, I believe, on maybe some of my pickups videos or whatnot. The fact you have to go and download the DLC off of PlayStation Network, and it isn't on the disc itself. I just freaking hate crap like that. You know, if you're going to name a game a specific name, make sure the stuff is already on there. You could have just said, hey, this is Dead Rising 4 on PS4. Okay, here's this extra content if you want to download it. All right, you call it Frank's Big Package. It's a tiny little package. It's just itsy-weensy because of the fact it just has the base game, and you have to actually go and download the content off of PlayStation Network. Yeah, it's aggravating. But anyways, besides that aspect, talking about just the game itself, a lot of people didn't really like Dead Rising 4. I'm honestly not really sure why. I had first got this game back on the Xbox One, back when I had an Xbox One, and then I sold the Xbox One plus the games that came with it because I didn't see any real point in having one because Microsoft doesn't believe in exclusives. And anything multi-platform, I'm already playing on PlayStation, or I end up playing it on PC. And knowing how the Switch is now coming out with multi-platform games, well, there you go. They're really seeking, the Nintendo's really getting into third party now, so we'll probably definitely be seeing more third-party titles out on that system as well. But the thing is that, I mean, I didn't see any real point in keeping it. There was a very small select handful of exclusives, I guess you could say, that I had for the system. But some of those same exclusives ended up going multi-platform anyways. Like Dead Rising 4, for example. That was usually like a Microsoft exclusive for the Xbox, and here it is on PlayStation 4, and it also went to the PC as well. So, yeah, it's not really exclusive for the system, and I didn't really have any interest in keeping it, so I went ahead and just sold it and got rid of it and got rid of the games. But I knew that Dead Rising 4 was going to be coming out to PlayStation 4. And I told myself, well, I'm going to go ahead and invest in this one since I already sold the Xbox and all that because I really did like the game. I played through the game, I went through the entire story mode, and I did a whole lot of side activities and whatnot and exploring. But there was just some things that I didn't do that I just got sidetracked, if you will, off to the main story itself. And the story isn't really anything to write home about, really. The main thing is just going out there in the world and just destroying millions and bajillions of zombies with really unique weapons that you create and just going and just getting yourself covered in blood and guts and just knocking their limbs off. And it's just very freaking heavy metal and just knocking their heads off and getting in cars and running them over, or a tractor and running them over, you know, just and getting different types of guns that you create and just blowing them all up. And of course, you also have to, you know, take out the psychos or the rogues or renegades or whatever, the small pack of humans that are kind of out and about amongst these hordes and hordes of zombies that are trying to take you out as well as the zombies themselves. But yeah, it's the thing is though, is when I first played the Dead Rising series, I played the first one and the second one very little back on the Xbox 360 because an ex-friend of mine had it. And I played very little of it. But then it ended up coming out on the PS4 with the remasters, whatever, if you want to call them that. They didn't really look like remasters to me. The graphics looked just a tad sharper and a little bit cleaner, but that was it. There wasn't anything that was really special about them from what I could see. I played a little of the first and second one on PS4, thinking if I could get back into it because I didn't really spend too much time previously when they were on the 360. So looking a little bit deeper into it, I said, you know, this isn't really for me because of the fact that I can't stand timers in games. I truly can't stand being timed in games. I understand why there's timers in specific types of games. I totally get it. I understand it. But the thing is, though, and I get why it's in the Dead Rising series, too. I do, but it's just not for me. It wasn't for me with the first one and the second one. When the third one came out, they actually took that out, which I have the third one on PC. Used to have it on the Xbox One, but I was just like, well, sold the system, might as well get rid of the game. Not like I'm going to be able to use it anyways. But got it really cheap on the PC, so I'm actually planning to go back and play in that at some point as well. And they took away the timer in that one. And one reason why I didn't really get into playing the third one a little bit more is I guess I needed to level up just a little bit more because the first boss I got to in the third game just handed my ass to me on a silver platter. So I said, well, the hell with it. I went and started playing something else. But then when the fourth one came out, I got sucked into it, man. I really did. It's like it starts you back where you're really the main meat of the game gets you back where you're in the mall itself, and then you get out of the mall and you explore all of Willamette, the area where you're in. You get out, you explore the town, you explore houses and abandoned houses and other stores and things like that, and other different areas in the game. It really brought out what I believe to be like a true open worldish game, if you will, for the Dead Rising series, because I don't really know how much it went into being open world in the third game. I think it probably took along the same lines of what it is in the fourth game, but the first and second one, at least to my knowledge, kind of really kept it in a cramped area where you're just in the mall itself. Like I said, I'm not really sure because I hadn't gone through all the games like that, but definitely really enjoyed it, really did like it, and enjoyed it so much to the point that I am playing it again, that I want to go and get the trophies out of there, and that I want to be able to go through the story again and just have a grand old time in the world of zombies walking around everywhere and just murdering them left and right, or re-murdering them, re-deading. They're undead, re-dead. Anyways, but the fact is I'm also taking the time to go back and do things previously that I didn't really, because I really want to go through and explore everything that I can in this game. Now, granted, the graphics in this game aren't really the best by today's standards and all that BS, but the fact is they're good enough for me and substantial enough for me to be able to say, hey, this is a really nice looking game and having a good time with it and a fun time with it. And honestly, I haven't had like any technical problems or anything like that. Really, yeah, there's some glitches and bugs every now and then, but they're the funny ones. Like I mentioned before, I like bugs and glitches in games if they're funny, if they actually help me in the game or assist me in the game in some way. The ones that I hate are obviously that crash the game, that cause it to just, you do a blue screen of death and you have to start the game back over again and you don't even know if it's saved yet or if you saved earlier or whatever the case may be. But yeah, I highly suggest that if you guys are really wondering about Dead Rising 4, go and check out some of my previous streams that I've done, which I'll probably still be streaming this some in the future, but it's definitely something that you guys should check out. And like I've always said, always look into games for yourself that you're kind of wondering if they're good or not enough for you. I mean, obviously, you're going to watch a lot of gaming videos, or you're going to watch a lot of reviews and things like that, and previews and so on and so forth. But honestly, from my personal perspective, I really did like this, especially with the additional content they ended up adding in as well, even though you had to download it. From what I've heard, the additional content in here was free for those who ended up having the Xbox One and the PC versions of the game. But the thing is what they have in here, one of them is Capcom Heroes mode, which basically it says you equip iconic Capcom costumes and abilities, and that is for basically, obviously, characters in the Capcom series. You go, it's a specific thing where you're going through the story in the game, and you're going and getting these different types of costumes that Frank, the main character, keeps on himself for a certain period of time, and you get access to different powers that these characters have, which is really cool. The thing is, though, is you don't get all the trophies in the game. If you're going for trophies, you don't get all the trophies in the game in the story mode by playing this mode, because I guess maybe Capcom thought that you probably were too OP, overpowered to go through the game by getting these different outfits and different powers. There's only like 3 or 4 trophies that I've seen that's actually within that mode, which is kind of strange. But sometime much later down the line when I want to go back and just explore the zaniness and the craziness of this world once again, definitely going to get back and playing into that mode, because I did test it out a little bit and thought it was pretty cool. The next one that they had here was Frank Rising. This actually brings back the timer that people were wanting for previously in the series, since they took it out for the third one and the fourth one. I think you could actually download it as content for the fourth game, but I don't know if it was like paid content, which would be really freaking stupid to pay for a freaking timer. I don't really know if that's true or not. But they actually brought back the timer in this for Frank Rising, and it's a DLC where Frank is basically a zombie, and you go through and you have like an hour and a half to be able to basically complete the content, which is crazy to think of. But yeah, and the thing is though, is if you die, the timer doesn't set back, it doesn't stall or anything like that, it continually counts down. So I went into playing that some. It was really cool for what it was, but it really kind of handicapped you as far as I'm concerned by not giving you the ability to utilize different weapons and items in the game from what I've seen. But the powers and things that you earn as you go along, like zombie powers and whatnot. I haven't really seen that they're really too powerful. I'd much rather just end up swinging around a bladed baseball bat or a chainsaw or whatever. But anyways, definitely a really interesting kind of DLC side content there. Another one they have here was Super Ultra Dead Rising 4 Mini Golf. Hit the links in the undead spin-off of golf. I couldn't really get into this one. I don't like golf. I'd rather watch paint dry or grass grow. But I know they were trying to make an interesting little twist on this, but it didn't really get it for me. I guess I was just trying to get used to the controls, and it wasn't really doing it for me. I mean, yeah, you have wacky, zany courses, and zombies are in the way, and you can blow up zombies with your explosive balls as they fly through the air and go through the holes in the links or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I couldn't really get into that. I think you can have like a multiplayer thing with that, I believe. So maybe if I got into doing something like that, I might be able to get into it a little bit more. But they also had bonus packs and extra gear. Up your arsenal with extra costumes and weapons. But yeah, there is some extra costumes in here. Like I mentioned before, there's a Capcom Heroes mode, but they also have the regular story mode where you could go and just have just the regular costumes of different types of Capcom characters. Mainly Street Fighter characters, and that's pretty much it for the most part. There's like a few other ones that are in there that you can find, but right out of the gate, you end up having access to specifically Street Fighter-based costumes. But yeah, there was like a couple other little extra things in there. I'm not really sure about the weapons. I haven't really seen anything about that yet. They have this really weird extra DLC, which was like a holiday themed kind of thing that I guess must have came out for Valentine's Day. And when you turn it on, it puts a really weird border around the main screen of the game. But then when you start the game, every single zombie has these little robot heads on there. Were for like from the Mega Man series. I forgot. I think they were called Servbots. It seems like all the zombies have those on their heads. I don't know if the psychos that you come across in the game end up having those. But yeah, they have them on their heads. And I guess maybe in a way, I don't know, maybe it's helpful towards you where they can't bite you or something or really do much damage. I haven't really tested that out yet, but I thought that was kind of strange. And then there was actually a couple zombies that I saw that had like Cupid's arrow through their head or through their ass or through their back or something like that, and their eyes were made out of hearts, like, you know, those little Valentine kind of hearts or something. I'm like, well, that's really strange. So probably at some point I'll get back into doing that and checking that out, especially considering that I'm finally out of the mall and into the open world already. But yeah, I really just wanted to do this video to talk about this game being the first one in the series. I really don't know how long this series might go on. It's just whenever a game pops up that I feel like is really polarizing, that I really like, that I want to share with you, if maybe you guys want to check it out, if you've kind of been wondering what a specific game is about. And I do have a small little stack, a small little list, if you will, of other games that I'm going to go through as time wears on. But this isn't going to be like a weekly thing or anything like that. It's just going to be when one actually pops up that I want to discuss. But yeah, so definitely been having a really good time with this, and I highly suggest that you guys check it out. If you've never tried the Dead Rising series or anything like that, and you don't like timers and games, I highly suggest checking out the fourth one, or even go and check out the third one if you want to, because it'll be on Xbox One and also on PC as well. I would love it if the third one came out to PS4. I mean, hell, why not? They went ahead and put the first and second one out on PS4. They did it with the fourth one. Just go ahead and do it with the third one. I would definitely pick it up then for PS4. Probably not at full price, because I didn't get this one at full price either. I actually ended up getting it at a really good discount where I ended up using some of a gift card that my girlfriend's nephew ended up giving me for Christmas, of a Best Buy gift card. I utilized the rest of that I had on the card, and also ended up using my Gamers Club Unlock membership. So I ended up paying, I think, like maybe $34 altogether for this, with everything that's on it, as well as obviously the main game itself. Probably, I think, like 34 something, and the original price was 50. So yeah, I thought seems like it was a pretty good deal, and definitely have been wanting to go back and play it again. And I don't regret it. I really don't. It's definitely an awesome time, and I'm hoping when the next Dead Rising game comes out that they do bring Frank West back, because I think he's funny. I think he's a great character. The thing is about this series, especially dealing with him, there's funny moments and there's serious moments, and they just kind of put them in a blender and just spin them all around, and it comes out with something really great. So definitely, guys, check it out if you're into like open world, action, crazy, zany, zombie killing kind of games. And I would go ahead and I would end this like I always do. Later, taters.